and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well. My name is Timothy McGuire, and I have the pleasure of presenting our project to you. This is my team. We have our two EEs, Julian Torres and Johan Rodriguez. They were in charge of testing our system and being the communication people for our faculty mentor and our company mentor, which are both UTD. And then we have Jasmine Singh, who is my fellow CE, who has helped with software development, with interacting between the Excel file and developing that into a hash map for our program to read from. And as I said before, I'm Timothy McGuire. I am also a CE, and I was in charge with the software communications between the reader and our program, and network communications between the display and the reader. So first of all, to understand how the display works, you have to understand how the graduation ceremony goes. Currently, it's all done orally and by hand. So the orator will be up at the podium like this. A helper will give them the card, and he'll read the card. The problem with this is it's kind of impersonal. All you get is an audio sound of their name and not much else recognition. So maybe you have a family member who is in the audience that's a little hard of hearing. It may be hard for them to know if their relative is walking across the stage or not. So what we did was created a display system using RFID technology to go on the back of the index card that the orator already has to read off anyways. So the scanner will just sit right next to him. So as he's reading, it will read the ID from that RFID tag, go into the hash map that we've made from an Excel file, and then display the student's name, his major, and his degree. So to do how we did this was we went with Alien Technology, because they already had a RFID development kit that we could use and easily develop from. We did run, all the issues we really ran into were software related. The biggest one we had was at times the reader would time out, because I tested it on a low power computer to make sure that someone with a low grade computer could still run this. And what we found through our testing is to restart the reader and get it going again only takes about a second. So should the reader time out, it would only have a delay of a second before it would be back up and running. And also, what we did is, so once it's scanned, sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. So once it's scanned, that was the only big problem. The other issue we ran into was here at UTD, their network is very high security and doesn't really allow us to open up ports between our computers. So also what we had to do was take advantage of Windows hosted network, which is support from Windows 7 to its current OS, to create a virtual network where one of the computers will act as a hotspot, not necessarily needing an internet connection to talk between the reader and the scanner. So doing that let us not have to worry about the security issues and still get these two talking without having to rely on UTD's common net. Just in case it goes down, the computers can still create that virtual network and the system can still work without an internet connection. So some of the issues that was brought out in our meetings with the commencement committee is they say, what if we need to speed up the process? We're running behind and we need to start getting the names going quickly. We set up our system to read for tags in half-a-second intervals. So if it sees it's the same name that's already been read, it would just disregard it. But if it's a new name, you just have a half-a-second delay to get that going. They say it only takes about, from the timing we did from previous graduation ceremonies, it only takes about 3 to 5 seconds for the student's name to be called, walk across, shake the hand, and be off. So that half a second is just perfect for that. In case they need to speed up, they can, it won't affect it. And then also another issue they raised was, what if there is a huge delay and there's more than 5 seconds, what will be displayed? You don't want one student to have their name up there longer than everyone else, because then maybe someone will be like, hey, why is their name up there longer than mine? So we also integrated a timer into our system to where after 5 seconds, it will automatically put up a generic display that would say UTD's commencement ceremony to just fill in the gap just in case there is a long pause. And this way, no one name is up there longer than anyone else. The reason UTD wanted us to do this for them is they were approached by a company called March On, which does similar to what we're doing, but they quoted them a price of $4,000 every semester just for the ECS graduations. So with ours, it was a startup cost of $1,700 for the first semester. Then every following semester afterwards, it will only be $1,000 because they just have to get new tags. They have the scanner ready to go. So that is a fourth of the cost, saving them $3,000 every semester. And it was a pleasure explaining the project to you. If you have any more questions or want to see a demonstration of it in action, we will have a demo of it going at our poster display. I encourage you guys to come along and check it out, and I now open the floor to any questions.
Is there any specific reason why you can't reuse the RFID tags from the previous semester?
Well, the issue with that is no one really wanted to deal with it because they're not reusable cards. You have the tags themselves are adhesive, so you can stick it on the back of the cards, but they pre-print their cards, so there's no way to really change the name that's already been printed on that card. So we were talking about them because we wanted to make it reusable as well and just have like a generic card, but then you won't know if, say, two students are next to each other, fiddling around while they're waiting, and accidentally switch cards. Then you have two different names, and there's no way to tell the two cards apart. So it was just easier, and versus the cost of what March On brought up, it was just much easier to just get new tags every semester.
I think just to kind of clarify that, we wanted to integrate what they already had with our system, not create something new, because they're used to a certain level of comfort with what they do, and so we kind of had to just incorporate our project into what they already do. So that's the reason that we don't have to do it.
So,
Why did you choose RFID?
well, because a lot of other companies use barcode scanners, but to do that, you have to physically hold it over that scanner until it reads. With RFID, we can change the attenuation of the scanner to read anywhere from 2 inches from the scanner to about 1 foot from the scanner. So that way, when the other helper hands the orator the card, he can just hold it like normal. He doesn't have to change anything, he can just read it like normal, and the scanner will read it from here. So he doesn't have to worry about scanning it and making sure that it gets scanned and is up there. He just has to hold the card like normal, because we wanted to make it as easy as possible for everyone and not really change the process that they're used to.
I have a hypothetical question. If a person's having 2 or 3 cards at the same time, how would you resolve this one?
Well, part of the process they already have is they have a helper handing them 1 card, so we didn't have to worry about that. But should it happen, the scanner will take the loudest RFID tag, or in other words, the closest tag to the scanner, and display that one first. Yes, we have done extensive tests, and we are proud to say that it will be debuting in the second ECS graduation at 4:30 on May 15th.